morning and thanks for joining us for breakfast this morning. My name is Nyamgul Agaji. Today is Thursday the 26th of June 2025. INEC sees 110 new political party applicants. That is our first hot topic for this morning, and we're also going to be looking at International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Today is that day, and today in Ikeja there will be an awareness work also organized by some groups in Lagos State, and there are so many other events across the country to mark International Day, this very important day against drug abuse and illicit use of drugs. And we also are going to have our top trending issues. These are headlines that have already appeared maybe days before that just caught our fancy. And then we'll also have our fresh headlines of the press that will be about 7:30 or so. We hope that you're going to be an integral part of this program. We also are hoping that you continue whatever conversation we have on any of our shows on our social media handles. So just look for plustv Africa and then engage us however you can. Okay, so we'll go straight to our quote for this morning. Quote for this morning is from William Shakespeare. It says, "Capital isn't scarce, vision is." Capital isn't scarce, vision is. In our contemporary Nigeria, everybody is thinking about having a job, and then others are thinking about building a business. The recurrent excuse is that there's no capital to start the business. And this quote is telling us that it's not all about the money that you're looking for. The first thing and the most important thing is to have the vision that you want to fulfill. When you have this vision, a lot of things will fall into place. It's better to have this vision before you have what you're thinking of as money. So what is that vision that someone will see and want to key into? Is it big enough? If it is big enough, you can always get the help that you need. Either you get the help that you need from external people or external bodies or external opportunities that you might have, but another way you can get this help is to help yourself, because if you have a dream, you know the stages that it will take you to get to your dream. So you start small. If it's a vision that might take you billions of naira, you might have a way of starting small. This is not motivational talk that they tell you that I started my poultry farm with one feather. That's not what I'm talking about. But the thing is, if you have a dream and you know how to build that dream, there are ways that you can start small and then you make it big. The problem nowadays is that a lot of people want to start and continue like Dangote. Dangote didn't start like that, or Tetra didn't start like that. None of these people started like that. Even when some of these people came from old money, as they call it, family inheritances and all other things. Maybe their families had big businesses and all, but they still started small. They started learning and all that things. Remember someone like the man who founded KFC. He started very late in life, maybe 60 or so. That's when he started. He had a vision. Something just occurred to him, like lightning. Like it came to him, and then he started it. He was moving from door to door. KFC wasn't always what it is now, a very big company, even after the death of the founder. He was moving with his chicken from door to door, and see where it has taken him now, even though he's not around to see where it is. But he saw that company grow to the extent that everybody could call it a very big company, until today we have it here in Nigeria. So if someone could start a business by just cooking chicken, frying chicken, and moving from door to door, knocking doors and asking people to buy, and it is as big as that today. Just think about what you can do with your time and energy if you know that humble beginnings are good enough to take you to the height that you want to reach. Well, from there we'll go directly to our top trending issues. The first one here is that the National Youth Service Corps, the NYSC, has firmly debunked claims that the service year of Rita Ogwamaye, a Lagos-based corper known as Raye, was extended as punishment for her outspoken criticism of President Tinubu's administration and Nigeria's dire economic conditions. The controversy arose after Raye's viral TikTok videos where she decried rampant inflation, described Lagos as unsanitary, and labeled the president as a terrible leader. Raye later received alleged that she was receiving threats from NYSC officials, including demands to delete her videos. Her claims sparked swift condemnation from prominent figures like Atiku Abubakar and Omoyole Sowore, the latter promising to protest at NYSC's passing out parade if Raye's service year was unfairly extended. In response, NYSC spokesperson Carol Embu emphasized that any service extension is governed by strict guidelines and, of course, only at the point of passing out. She clarified that Raye is still actively serving and that no formal extension has been applied. Independent checks have found no official documentation supporting claims of punitive actions against her. Well, that story surfaced a few days ago, and it was said that she was her service year was extended by 2 months or so, and that it was as a result of her criticism of the president and the conditions in Lagos and all that. Now NYSC has debunked that. Sometimes in Nigeria things come out as rumors, and then we find out that, okay, it is no longer like that. And in some cases we find out that these things were actually true, but because of public opinion they downplay it, and then it doesn't happen anymore. What this tells us is that whether it was true or not, and people voiced it out, maybe that's the reason that NYSC will withdraw. But I didn't see any reason to go with the flow anyway, because the president himself has said that no matter what people say, it doesn't matter. He just listens to them. If it's an insult, he doesn't take it. In fact, the other day, someone was rushing at him, and security had to prevent the person. And I heard the president say, "Leave him alone." Maybe he didn't see it as a security threat, and he just felt someone liked him or something. But he didn't think that some action should be taken against that person just because he rushed at him and all that, you know. So I don't see the president giving a nod to that kind of thing, even though I know that there's some people that would just want to show that we got your back, the president, see, we are working so much and we're doing this and that. But at this point, we hope that the girl in question is safe at the hands of NYSC, is safe at the hands of the authorities, is safe from all corners, because if these things are beginning to surface like this, maybe there is fire somewhere. That's why we're seeing this smoke. We're wishing her well. We're wishing the government well in areas that they're doing well. We are also wishing that they will listen to all of us, the things that we have been complaining about. It's not only Raye that complained. People are complaining. Even people inside the APC are complaining in their little closets. It's when they come out that they shout and say we are the best government and all that. The economy is biting everybody. But we should be bold enough to talk truth, speak truth to power. That's what we should do. We shouldn't let it get to the point where we will be acting like the Kenyans acted yesterday. All the people were on the streets. Some lawmakers even were joining the youths to protest on the streets yesterday. The protest came because last year there was another protest against the government's proposed bill, finance bill, that they felt was going to impoverish them more and make them suffer in their own country. So they went out to protest. About 60 people were killed, and this year they went out again in spite of that to protest the killings of those people and also the people that had been killed in the past few weeks. You know, the blogger or drunk that was shot, that was strangled in custody, and the mask seller that was shot by a police officer unprovoked, was just shot, but he fortunately didn't die. At least now he's still in intensive care unit in one of the hospitals, so we hope that he's not going to die. But they went out on the streets. Maybe some people will still lose their lives, but they're making a statement on the streets. We don't want that in Nigeria, because if it happens in Nigeria, it might be more catastrophic than it can happen anywhere else. So let it not get to that point. We hope that the leaders will be responsible enough to listen to us, to do what we need them to do, because we sent them there to go and represent us and put our money to good use. That is what it is. So Raya, we wish you well. We hope that the conditions you complained about are better now, and you are enjoying your NYSC. And for the authorities, please, let's not trigger the people. It's already very fragile, the peace that we have in Nigeria. Now, Multichoice Nigeria has reduced its DSTV decoder cost from 20,000 to 10,000 naira as part of a new We Got You campaign aimed at luring back subscribers. This move is intended to reward loyal customers and highlight daily access entertainment across genres beyond football, including movies, dramas, kids shows, and news. Now, this is not a free advert for Multichoice. It's just to show that when the people are tired of impunity, things can get done. Multichoice, people have been complaining about how much they are charging for their packages and how unbearable they were, and people were starting to look for alternatives, and they had no choice but to reduce. You know, from 27 to 10,000 is not a small thing. And then we also know that they have packages specifically for maybe sports or some things and all that, so that people can afford it. You choose what you want, and then you go ahead and do that. So this is just to bring to you that when your voice is loud, sometimes it's not because of spoken words, it's because of your actions. So maybe I'm hoping that we are going to look at alternatives as well when it comes to service providers. You know, you're making calls or you're on Zoom, as we've been experiencing some days here, even in our own studios, where our guests will not, the network where our guests will not be strong enough, in spite of all the money that we pay for subscription and all that. So it's not a very good thing. So if they can crash this because of how loud the voices of the Nigerian citizens have been, then any other thing can also listen to Nigerians. So the bottom line is speak with one voice. Nigerians speak with one voice, and you'll get a lot of things done. Do not think about how I'm going to gain from the present administration and all that. Remember that if today you are, for instance, in APC and you're gaining a lot, the next time you might just make your whole family become APC, and the next administration will be PDP, and then all the things that people are complaining about now will be your turn to complain. So that means that whether you are an APC or an PDP or an LP or an NNPP, any party that you belong to, what you should be seeking is good governance and everything that Nigerians need and they are crying for. If it is good roads, don't say because I'm in this party presently, I won't talk out on the state of our roads and everything, because when the government changes, those specs that you're having right now, you might not have, and you'll be suffering the same things that you could have contributed to making become a reality when you were in power. So do not ever be selfish. That is what I mean. When you talk about a common interest, no permanent enemy, but just a common interest or there's no personal interest. A common interest is how Nigeria can grow. Every party should have a different roadmap, maybe a slightly different roadmap, but the ultimate goal is to make Nigeria great. If you want to travel from here to Abuja, for instance, you can decide to take the road if that's what you think is good, because you want to see the scenery as you go. It will be like sightseeing for you. Another person will want to see the aerial view, and it takes a flight. Some other person would want to go by train because of what he or she will see on the road and all that, not regular roads that you will pass if you're taking a train. So everybody picks their own adventure. That is how it is. But the ultimate goal is to arrive at Abuja. That's how parties should be thinking. Your goal is Nigeria. Your goal is not your personal pockets. But here in Nigeria, when you talk about common interest, the common interest for them is the common interest of amassing wealth, and that should not be. So whatever it is, speak out now and do what you can do, and join the other Nigerians to say what you need to say. Take the good from all the complaints that you've been hearing and make your representation to whatever, because some of us might have the ears of those that matter, but we are not speaking out because we think we'll fall out of favor. But guess what? Either you will fall out of favor one day or your children will. And a man who does not think about legacy, that is leaving something that they will be remembered by positively, is a very dangerous man. If you're one of those, please know that you're a very dangerous person. So speak out with one voice. Nigerians spoke out with one voice, even without going to the streets, but taking alternative measures to entertain themselves. And now DSTV has cut their prices. So that's the lesson to learn from there. Okay, the Nigerian Army reported that on June 24, its troops alongside the Nigerian Air Force repelled a coordinated bandit attack in Mariga local government area, Bangi community, Niger State. The engagement, which lasted over 3 hours in the Kwanad-Dutse forest, involved more than 300 bandits and included precision airstrikes on withdrawal routes. Tragically, 17 soldiers were killed and 10 others wounded. The injured are being treated and are now in stable condition. While the Army has yet to confirm bandit casualties, reports suggest scores were neutralized with blood trails indicating heavy losses. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Oluwafemi Oluyede, has extended condolences to the fallen soldiers' families and assured the public of continued military efforts to secure communities and eliminate banditry across Nigeria. Our hearts go to the families that have lost their loved ones, not just these 17 that died now, but everyone who has needlessly lost their lives in the struggle against banditry and insurgency. One president once said that if insurgency lasts for more than a week, then the government knows something about it. We don't want to believe those words, but this is high time we told ourselves that the kind of fight we're fighting with insurgents and bandits is not what we should be fighting. We shouldn't be going like a war to fight bandits. We should get enough intelligence, eliminate them at their places, not just fighting back. It's like we're waiting for them. Now they're so bold that where they attack, it's not just marketplaces, churches and all that. They go to army formations and attack them, then get their weapons and get out of there. Who does that? Nigeria, that was feared all over the world, is now third country of, when you're talking about military might, the third country in Africa, not even the world, in Africa. I know we might not be able to produce nuclear weapons and all that, but in Africa, at least guerrilla warfare and the equipment that we had and all that, we were the go-to people when it came to African peace. But Nigeria now is third, after other countries that are not giants of Africa as we pride ourselves. So this shouldn't be. We should think about a different strategy, not going to war with them. Think of a different, think the commando style, commando not just as the real word of it, but even as the movie, if you have watched it. You don't need a full platoon to go after bandits if you have the right information and you know the right things to do. Well, I'm not an army man. Maybe they will say you don't know what it takes and all that. But with the right intelligence, you don't need all this. So the issue of manpower may not even be a part of it. Build confidence in the people. Let people trust you enough, and then get the intel that you need. You can eliminate these people. And another thing is Nigerians are beginning to know that maybe what people have been saying, that those who are in charge are also in charge of our country, in charge of the terrorism, are also in charge of our country, maybe it may be true. Please prove us wrong and be deliberate about it. Have the political will to fight this insurgency and banditry. We shouldn't be dying every day. The soldiers have families. They were not doing this because of anything. They were doing it to protect us, and 17 have gone. And from history, from experience, we know that when official figures come out, it's always slightly, bigger than what we have been told. Maybe people who died were more than 17, we do not know. But whether it is 1 person or 100 persons, any life that needlessly shouldn't be lost should not be lost. So may those who have lost their lives in this fight, whenever they lost it, wherever they lost it, may their souls rest in peace. And finally, the National Commercial Tricycle and Motorcycle Owners and Riders Association, NATOMORAS, representing over 18 million keke naped riders across Nigeria, has warned of a potential nationwide peaceful protest if the federal government fails to deliver on its promise of 2,000 CNG-powered tricycles. At a June 25, 2025 press conference in Abuja, President Usman Goza criticized the government's inaction despite his association's unwavering support for the APC during the 2023 elections. Goza recounted the extensive campaign efforts by NATOMORAS, mobilizing members as campaigners, volunteers, and polling agents, all done voluntarily. In return, the association expected federal empowerment, including the distribution of CNG tricycles following an October 1, 2024 announcement by the Minister of State. But according to them, not even a tire has been delivered. Expressing a sense of betrayal, Goza stressed that NATOMORAS remains committed to peaceful action, but will mobilize its widespread membership to demand the government's fulfillment of its promise. Their demands include federal appointments, funding, support, and the actual handover of tricycles where they were told they would receive. Okay, this is, I don't know how to describe it, but you were promised something and then you were never given. Well, we Nigerians, the 200 and something million people were promised 100 buses, even those ones that are not anything to write home about. We've not seen them. So you are part of us. You mobilized because you believed in them and then they disappointed you. So don't worry. I think by January 2026 or somewhere thereabouts, you will have some of these things. If you were promised 100, maybe we will see 20 or 15, and the leadership of your organization will have it, because it's 2026 and 2027 there will be an election. Trust me, there will be something done, if not by the end of this year, but by next year for you. And if you don't learn your lesson, that is it. Vote people that you trust, not because of the kind of promises they are making, but the kind of antecedents that you have seen in these people. If they are people of integrity, vote them in, no matter what party they are, APC or any other party, vote them in. If you believe in their integrity, don't vote them because of what they are promising you. So if they promise you keke, your association keke, you don't care about what happens to other people. They didn't promise the teachers anything. They didn't promise the doctors anything. They didn't promise other people anything. They promised you something and then you mobilized people for them, and then they won election and you want to get it. You will get it by next year. Trust me. It may not be the number they've promised you, but you'll get that number in a campaign year. You will get it. Don't worry. Anyway, but this also brings us, apart from everything, apart from any joke at all, this brings us to the fact that we're still calling on the government to make sure that buses that are powered by CNG are on the streets everywhere. Buses that are powered by CNG can do interstate travels, so that, and then also there will be infrastructure for CNG. Because if I change my car to CNG, for instance, and I want to go to my village, and on my route from Lagos to my village, there is no CNG filling station, gas station that I can go into and get this gas for my vehicle, then it is useless, because I won't travel with that car. I will go with another car that maybe will take fuel, petrol or something. It doesn't make any sense. So if I change my car to CNG and I can only drive it and access this CNG in Lagos and Ogun State, then why am I changing in the first place? So infrastructure should be in place and more buses should be floated. More buses because, for instance, let me give you an example. when you're moving from Mowe in Ogun State to where they call 7-Up or Tollgate in Lagos State, it will cost you like between 800 and 1,000 naira. If you're taking the Ogun State BRT buses, the Ogun State CNG enabled buses, that same journey of 800 to 1,000 costs 300 naira. So imagine, because they have like only 3 or 4 of these buses, the space between one bus arriving at a bus station and the other also coming is so far, is so long, is so, yeah, the stretch is that long, sometimes hours before you see another bus coming. They could just come at the same time, and hours later before you see any other one coming. So that window is what is exploited by the other bus operators, and they charge you exorbitant prices. Just imagine if they had like 20 or 30 buses moving on that axis. That means you'll be having a bus on an average of 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes you find the CNG enabled bus that will take you on a journey of 1,000 naira for 300 naira. The other buses will be forced to bring down their prices. Forced to bring down their prices, not because it is a punitive measure, you're trying to put them out of business. Some of these buses are using CNG as well, but no regulation, nothing to fear. They're charging the same thing as other buses that even are using petrol. That's the argument. So the government, while you're enabling these buses to change into CNG, you're also floating your own buses so that you will know that the people will have alternatives, very good alternatives that will reserve some money in their pockets. Someone who was earning 200,000 3 years ago is still earning 200,000 today. And the things have more than tripled since 3 years ago. So you can imagine what people are going through. So government, do something about it. Keep to your promises. Anyway, that's all about top trending issues. We'll take a short break. When we return, we're hoping to be joined by Biodun Shomi to look at the papers. Stay with us.